my
Absolutely.
friend, if you don't mind, help us to understand the benefits of committing to that.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. And I'm going to actually refer to something that you said. The day you got on the scale, you said I'm 225. It's not like you didn't know that the scale was probably inching up before you got on there,
Right.
right? But you got on there, and then all of a sudden, a strong enough reason to change
Mm.
popped into your head, right? For what came into your awareness, and I was like Paul, right?
Yep.
Paul
Absolutely.
Martinelli, right? But
Yeah.
but right then and there, you made the decision. Sometimes people, they'll say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, today I'm gonna go. Tomorrow I'm gonna put it off to next week, and all these
Right.
other kinds of things. But they don't decide, because if the commitment doesn't follow,
Mm.
you haven't actually made a decision,
Mm.
right?
That's good.
And so one of the benefits of physical fitness, as I mentioned earlier, is the mental aspect of actually deciding on what it is that you want,
Yeah.
right? So there's a mind strengthening part to physical fitness. I was working with a client yesterday, and we were trying something a little different, where I asked her to slow down her movement, and I wanted her to feel basically every little progression of the rep.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I told her what muscle group we were working, and I said, I want you to be able to feel the muscle working.
Mm.
And what she discovered was in those moments of concentration, she actually forgot about everything else.
Wow.
Right. And when she had come in that day, she had a lot on her mind, right? A lot of things going on in her life. And I always appreciate when she comes in and tells me, hey, I had this and this and this and this going on. It would be easy for me to just say, well, forget about all that, we're just gonna lift these weights. And I said, okay. So why not put you in a position where I can allow you to shift your focus on your own? Right. So she told me, she said, yeah, when I did that, and when she let it go, there was this exhale, right? Because we were doing some pretty heavy weight with some pretty heavy tension, but when she let it go, the tension released.
Yeah.
And she said, in those few seconds that I was performing that rep, I only thought about this, right? So again, not only does it help you with that mental aspect, but it helps you with focus.
Yes.
Right. And so the other thing is, and you mentioned this, if I can just show up, right? If I can just get there, then things might change. Right. But if I don't show up, I'll never know.
Yeah.
And if I don't show up, I'll remain in this emotional state. And so the other part of it is it helps you work on some of that emotional mastery too, that Tony Robbins always talks about. The idea of being able to change from state to state, right? And so if I can decide again to show up and then just do the work, right? Regardless of what it is. Maybe I show up today and I decide, you know what? I'm just not feeling it. I'm not going to do my regular workout. I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to do a couple of squats and then I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
And then you find, well, man, I did 2 sets or 2 reps. Maybe I can do 3. Maybe I can do 4. Yeah. And the next thing you know, you've forgotten about all the reasons why you didn't want to come, and you just focused on being in the moment. Now, how many times does that show up in the other parts of our lives? Or there's something that we know we need to do, some commitment that we've made. If we work with coaches and we got accountability partners and things like that, it's not perfect. Things move like a sine wave, right? Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and that's just the reality of it. If we get into all or nothing thinking, right, we set ourselves up for failure. Yeah. So again, another benefit of it is that kind of helps us get out of the all or nothing thinking way of living, right? Because you're going to hit plateaus while you're working out. So now I've got a new challenge to overcome. How do I get past this plateau? Sometimes you learn that doing less will actually equate to more, right? So again, that's another benefit too, because how many times did we decide to just continue to keep piling on and piling on and piling on until we break down?
Right. So
I said that to say this. I don't believe anything is better at helping you build resilience like strength training. So there are so many reasons why it benefits to exercise and just staying physically active. I love what you said about just increasing your activity, right? There's something called NEAT, NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which thermogenesis is nothing more than just calories burning, right? But how do I increase my NEAT throughout the day? This is why you hear people say, hey, park farther away right? Take those extra steps. Take the stairs.
Yeah.
Every 10 minutes, if you work at a desk, get up and walk around,
That's right.
right? Housework. People, if you run from housework, you're missing out on an opportunity to actually get out and get in some neat.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be the first to tell you, once I jumped onto this entrepreneur journey, I definitely stopped cutting my own grass. You mentioned low back problems. Excuse me. So I said, nothing hurts my back like cutting my grass. So this $35 I pay once every 2 weeks is worth it. However, I'm going to carry some laundry baskets. I'm going to fold some clothes. I'm going to vacuum. My wife loves the robot vacuums and stuff like that. With me, I'd rather grab the broom and just be done. But I also think about it from the aspect of it actually increases my daily neat.
Yeah.
Right. My daily activity level. So like I said, there's just so many benefits. And I think the biggest one, though, is the improvement of self-image.
Yeah.
Right. If you stick with it long enough, you can't help but to see yourself differently.
Yes.
Right. That first time, and then people, you got to give yourself some space and grace. Right. You can't go work out for 2 weeks and then be in the mirror talking about, I'm not seeing results yet. Right. And so I said, well, okay, 2 weeks now. So take this picture today, 2 weeks from the day you started. Now, 2 weeks from now, take another picture and tell me what you see. And then 2 weeks from now, take another picture and tell me what you see, right? And then, some people get bogged down with the scale.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how do your clothes fit now? What are other people telling you about you? Because you ever notice when someone actually, if they got a weight loss goal, when people start telling, hey, your face looks slimmer.
Right.
You look younger.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, well, the scale is not telling me that. I said, well, sometimes you got to forget about the scale. Right. It's important, but it is just another point of measurement, point of reference. Right. It's not the be all end all. Because I ask people all the time, he said, well, I forgot this weight loss goal. It's like, okay, well, what's your ideal weight? And they'll tell me, and I'll ask them, why do you want to be that weight?
Yeah.
And they'll say something similar to what you said. Well, when I was in college, I weighed, 150 pounds. And I said, well, how long ago has it been since you were in college? Right? 40 years ago, right? And I said, well, do you realistically think that you can look again like you did in college? Exactly the same way, right? And so I said, doesn't mean that you can't even be better.
Yeah.
I said, but what is it about that you really want? So back to the why. Why are you really doing this? And then you find out it's deeper than that, right? So again, another benefit is just that self-exploration of yourself. Yeah. So like I said, I could go on, man. The benefits are endless. Man, they are endless.
Man, I'm loving this. I'm just, because a lot of the stuff that you're saying, either I said it before to somebody else or somebody else said it to me. When it's the exchange of information that we need to be understanding of. And Absolutely. I love the fact that you started off with focus. Focus was the first piece, because here's what we do. We got so much going on in life. We got these little things, these little pocket computers, and these pocket computers just literally just captivate us. I mean, not just from work emails to phone calls, which really what they're designed to do, but there's these other things like social media. And social media somehow has found a way to become a major consumer of our time.
Absolutely.
So between Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, man, people spend hours. Well, if you release, I'm serious. If we can just cut that in half, that's a whole workout that you can get in, and you can get to the point of feeling better about yourself. So if we remove our focus from something to put it where in a place that benefits us, because TikTok isn't benefiting you unless you're probably looking for something new to cook. I mean, you'll see that on TikTok all day long, right?
Yes.
But it changes our way of seeing things when we start doing it. So that focus piece, I think, is good. Not just focusing, like redirecting our focus so we can work out and exercise, but now in the exercise being able to focus on what we're doing and not the outside world. So focus to me in this case is twofold. Being able to focus and, again, focus on doing the workout on a consistent basis And
Yes.
then once we get into the workout, focus on what it is we're doing. Not worried about the car payment, not worried about the, like you mentioned, getting someone cutting the grass. Let's focus on what we're doing right now.
Yes.
Because as you said, and you brought up our friend Paul, right? Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So with that being said, if you can just focus on what you're doing right now, then you will find that you can actually get around the excuses that you were making not to do it anyway. And I love the fact that you brought that. Here's the other thing that goes along with that. And you brought up emotional mastery. I so love that, right? Because I don't care where we are in life, that's a constant pursuit. We're constantly pursuing the idea of emotional mastery. In other words, what we're really talking about is how can I get to the point of self-regulation? How can I get to the point of understanding who I am, more self-reflection, right? And then once I get that self-reflection piece down, and then I can start looking at other aspects such as relationship management, social relationships or social awareness, right? All of those things are closely connected, but it starts where we get to the point where we can actually master our emotions. And here's the sad part about it. We'll never master it completely, but if you're doing better today than what you did yesterday, you're already ahead of the game and you're winning. So I'm gonna go back because you said one of my favorite things. You said space and grace, and I'm gonna use that just so that you know. But I'm a big believer on giving yourself some grace. Listen, we can be so hard on ourselves that we'll talk ourselves out of doing a thing.
Yes.
Don't ever get to that point, because when it comes down to physical fitness, like he mentioned, we look at, we look at an image of us and we don't like the image. We look at the scale and we don't like the scale. And then unfortunately, some people don't want to get on the scale, or they don't want to take the image, so they don't have anything to gauge off of except for how they feel or the compliments that others give them.
Right.
But like you mentioned, that plateau is going to happen. It's coming. It's inevitable. Again, give yourself some grace, because you got to understand, as long as you keep doing the work, just keep doing the work, then you're going to get to the point to where you start feeling and looking better. And that's really what we're getting after. This all equates to self-image. This all equates to self-image. If I am more confident, because that's what we're talking about, if I am more confident in who I am, then my energy field expands.
Yes.
I feel better about myself. I'm excited about life, and I am looking to express. That's it. I so love that. Change all or nothing thinking. We have created what the educational world will call false dichotomies in every aspect of our life, right? If we get out of it's either this or that way of thinking, and realize that the answer exists from this to that, and everything in between, then you will realize that this or that is not the end goal. The end goal is just progression. If you just progress, if maybe I haven't lost 20 pounds in 1 week, which is unhealthy, by the way, but if I realize that I can stay on the treadmill a little longer, if I realize that I'm doing the same workout I did last week, but I'm less tired or I'm less sore, if I realize those things, then that's a win.
Absolutely.
So it's not this or that, it's progression.
Yes.
So as long as progression is the goal, don't give up.
Absolutely.
And this is why I so love the fact that you took this and tied to personal development, because it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. I don't care if you're trying to go to school, where physical fitness can be an extension of what it is you're trying to gain in school. Because let's be honest, the Army, I'm gonna go back there. The Army says we're going to do PT in the morning. Well, it's the reason why we do PT in the morning. Once you're done with PT, you are supercharged for the rest of the, well, I can't say for the rest of the day. I was good till lunch. After lunch.
Till lunch, yeah.
Man, this is awesome, man. I love it. Oh my God.
I like that. Up and to the right, man. Up and to the right. It's and it's a sine wave. Like I said, it's peaks and valleys.
And be okay. Here's the funny part. Be okay with the valleys. Because in the valleys, you learn so much about yourself.
Yes.
That's the beauty of it. When you hit a valley, start paying attention.
Yes.
Start focusing, sit still with self and think, why do I feel the way I feel right now? Right. And then you're going to learn something about self. Real quick story, man. I know I've been rambling a little long.
Oh, no, you're good. I'm loving this myself too.
I got a friend, and said friend, right, wants to, be healthy. Now, of course, there are certain medical issues that go along with it as well, and that's perfectly understandable. We all have a medical issue to some degree at some point.
Yes.
But said friend was a little disappointed in, the outcome of their workout. And they've been working out, right? They've been working out. And they're a little disappointed because they don't feel like they're gaining the traction that they want to gain. Okay. And in the midst of that conversation, what I found myself saying, number one, is give yourself some grace. That's the most important thing that we need to start on. Give yourself some grace. Understand that you're in a different place today than you were when you first got started, right? That's the other piece. And then lastly, stop comparing yourself to other people.
Comparison is what I was thinking about when you tell me about your friend. Yes.
Yeah. Stop comparing yourself to other people, because this is the thing. There's always going to be somebody who's better, stronger, faster. And when I use better, I don't mean better than you, just better at me at doing something, right?
Sure.
Stronger, faster, taller, whatever. I'm every bit of 5'8". That's all I got. I cannot give you more than 5'8". So why would I continue to be jealous of those who are 6'4"? Would I have liked to have been 6'4" back when I was disappointed at the fact that I was 5'8"? Absolutely, back then. But someplace between then and now, I found comfort in being 5'8". Yes. And then from the point of finding comfort to where I'm at right now, I found joy in being 5'8". Because here's the thing, I get to sit on airplanes and I don't have to fight for space.
That's the first thing I thought about. Yeah.
Listen, there's always a different way to look at a thing. We just have to find it. That's all it is. So I only wanted to bring that up because I feel, and I know it's true, that sometimes we just compare ourselves to other people, and then that becomes depressive. Don't do that to yourself. The only person you need to compare yourself to is the person that you see every time you look in the mirror. That's it. Be better. Just be better.
I love that. I love that because we compare ourselves to false realities too.
Ooh.
Again, expectation management. Nothing causes misery like unmet expectations.
Oh man.
But when you are you're comparing yourself to something that's not even true. So again, I like to say, we're all victims and beneficiaries of the stories that we tell ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you're telling yourself a story of that you're not doing enough, right? And I would ask, well, define enough.
Exactly.
How much should you be doing?
Yeah.
And then, well, I think I should be doing this. Okay, well, let's schedule it so you can do that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, sometimes you hear the excuses come in. Well, I don't have time. Well, really, is it really time? Right? Or do we really look at the R part of SMART goals? Right? Is it realistic for you to believe that you need to spend 2 hours in the gym? Right? And I would ask you, well, what makes you think you need to spend 2 hours in the gym? Well, it just seems like, again, like throwing more money at problems. If I throw more time at it, I'll get a better result. And it's like, well, again, is that true? And they'll usually say, well, I don't know. It makes sense to me. Of course, and then you go down the rabbit hole. Makes sense based on what? Right. So you get, it's kind of like running through the 5 whys, right? To get deeper, the deeper meaning. And then you find out that people are just looking for certainty. Right. And they're looking for absolutes. I do X, it automatically produces Y. That's what I'm looking for. When it really doesn't, it does not work that way.
It doesn't. For
some of the goals that people set for themselves. So for another part of my job as a personal trainer, even as a real estate agent, and even as a coach, was help them develop a better, clearer sense of reality. Yeah.
Man, that's so good. That is so good. And I just want to, you keep saying some amazing stuff, man, and it just keeps jarring stuff in my head, right? We are process-based people. We are linear thinkers, right?
Yes.
So if you give me an equation, I have an expectation for an outcome.
That's right.
But here's the problem with that. When we do that, we are literally, so it works. Let me say that. In certain situations, it works. But if you want to tap into the unknown, you cannot do that because with that process, you already know what the outcome is going to be. So how do you tap into the unknown? I have to do things that I'm unaware of. I have to find a way to get out of the linear trap of thinking, right? I need to expand my thought, get more creative, get more innovative as well. Let me tap into somebody else. Let me talk to this person so that they can challenge me and push me outside of my comfort zone. Because here's the reality of the truth. When it comes down to these processes that I have in my head, that's still within my comfort zone. Yes. I'm not coming up with a process that's outside of my thoughts. So I need someone else like Kenric to actually jar something in my head to say, hey, maybe blurpees aren't so bad for me, because I hate them. Just going to be honest with you. I hate them. I think blurpees are of the devil. But I'm just going to call you. Listen,
hey, you get no complaints from me.
But listen, I'm just going to be honest with you. They work. Just like when CrossFit was a thing, I hated CrossFit, but it works. When you reduce your break time, you are really depleting your body of oxygen. Therefore, it makes your muscles work harder. Scientific fact. But I hate it. I despise it. And I didn't do it. So it's just those things. And at that point in time, I probably would have benefited from somebody to say, okay, we got it. We understand you don't like it. But what are the benefits of it? And so, because I'm smart enough, I knew what the benefits were. So I could, just like I just articulated, I could have told them, say, yeah, I got this, I got that. And eventually we would have got to the conversation where I probably would have just been straight up honest. I don't want to do it.
Yes.
That's it. And I think a lot of times if we just get there, then we'll understand. Now we can get to the root cause of it. Because once I say I don't want to, smart as you are, you're going to ask me, why don't you want to do it? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So now we're getting down to where I'm starting to peel the layers back. And that's really what it's all about.